Okay, we want to look at the concept of division. Division is not something that you do by punching buttons on a calculator. That has no meaning. You get an answer, you write down the answer, you don't have any connection with that answer unless you understand what division is. So, we have division, okay? We're going to do 8/2. That means 8 divided by 2. We could use that little horizontal line with the dot above it and below it for division. But this typewriter notation, the keyboard notation for division is this. And of course, if we want to write it in handwritten notation, we'd write 8 with a 2 under it. Okay, so 8 divided by 2 means what? Well, it means how many 2's are there in 8? Or how many 2's are needed to make 8? Well, everybody can answer that. You count 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 4 of them. That's one way of doing it. Counting on the fingers is not a bad way to learn mathematics. There's been some research on that recently. Okay, so on the number line, I'm going to represent 2 by this arrow. That arrow is called a vector, incidentally. Okay, and I'm going to represent 8 by this arrow. And that arrow is also called a vector. Okay, now, again, we know this one is 4 times as long as this one, but we can depict that. We depict the 2, and then the 2, and another 2, and another 2, all these vectors having the same length, and we see that 4 of these make this. Okay, so that's a vector representation of 2 divided, I got that backwards, 8 divided by 2. I'm going to have trouble smudging that out because nothing's damp. Okay, so that's 8 divided by 2. I was about to say 2 divided by 8 would be 1/4. How many of these does it take to make one of these? Well, it takes 1/4 of one of these to make one of these. So we could also write 2 divided by 8 is 1/4. Because it takes 1/4 of this to make this picture. Okay, and we can do other quotients, but the idea is pretty clear. If we wanted to do 15 divided by 3, well, I got that in the right place, that's close enough. There's 15. And there's 3. So this is 15, this is 3, and we can see that it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 more of these, total 5, to make 15. It's very useful to have this sort of picture in mind when you're doing a division, when you're thinking about a division. So we see that 15 over 3 equals 5, and also that 3 over 15 is 1/5, because if we divide 3 by 15, that means it takes 1/5 of this to make this. Okay, so I totally recommend that you think in terms of arrows and number lines when you're thinking about what division means.